Yes, we do actually have to talk about AEW Dynamite. I know you might not want to, because I'm not a big fan of it myself, but we gotta. So here we are, May the 8th. Things have not changed. The show is what it is. It is not. Oh boy. It's in some ways getting worse by the week. In other ways, it's getting better by the week. I'm just going to try to spend a lot of time talking about notes, man. First note, I don't know why people believe this, but there were some people who thought that Tony Khan was actually going to wrestle. I don't know where that came from. Obviously, it was something created by the dirt sheets. Tony Khan said he had no plans of wrestling. If you actually saw his quote-unquote work, where he just had to take one bump, he couldn't do that. He can't promo, and he can't bump. What in the world is he going to do? At least Vince could cut a promo. At least Bischoff could cut a promo. You know, Tony Khan is worse than Dixie Carter, for God's sake. So the idea that Tony Khan was on a wrestle never really crossed my mind. Even though he's inserted himself into the storyline, which he said he would never be an on-screen character. That was a lie. But I do believe he will never wrestle. You know, he may put himself on the ring apron or something like that, like in a tag team situation, but I don't think he's actually going to go in there and do any work. Now, the next thing is, a lot of people are talking about NBA, TNT, NBA, Warner Brothers Discovery, and what this might mean for AEW. Some people are on the side that if the NBA leaves Warner Brothers Discovery, then that's good because they'll have money to give to AEW. The other side of the argument is that if the NBA leaves Warner Brothers Discovery, well, TNT is useless and TBS is useless, and it'll plummet in the ratings. And who's going to pay carriage fees for these networks when there's nothing on them that you want to see? And I think that both arguments are somewhat sensible, but one of them is actually working in realistic terms, and the other one in not so realistic terms. Losing the NBA is an absolute detriment to Warner Brothers Discovery, a company that's already in debt. Losing the NBA would pretty much kill one of their networks. And there's no way to fix that. You can't replace that with AEW. Even if you threw AEW the same money you would have thrown to the NBA, that wouldn't make people like it. That's one thing that you need to learn about, economics is you could pump as much money as you wanted to your passion product. That doesn't mean people like it. And AEW, if it gets an increase, which I think it will, I think they'll get some money, is going to be proportionate to what they can do on the network. Now, if they're the only thing on the network, that might be a little leverage to get a little bit more, but it's not going to be a lot because the ratings are going to fall through the floor. And there's going to be fewer people watching TBS and TNT that watch it now, for God's sake. So it's very, very dangerous for them to lose the NBA. And it looks like the NBA is about done. I know they're still going to have like hockey and, there'll be other things that they can bid on later. Other sports events that they can try to bring on. But that NBA money with all the shows that they have attached to the NBA, that's going to be a rough one. Tony Khan hopes they should hope they get the NBA and keep it, because then at the very least the network will exist so that they can have something to air their show on. Because I'm not sure that this network is going to be able to survive without the NBA. I don't mean literally. I'm not saying like it's literally going to disappear and float away. What I'm saying is it's going to be one of those dead networks. There's like 500 dead networks on cable where they exist, but nobody watches them. And there's no reason to watch them because there's nothing that comes on them. All the new shows go to streaming services. So most of these cable networks are just reruns of old TV shows. And TNT and TBS become that without the NBA. And then the occasional sports. Maybe the occasional baseball game or the occasional hockey game or whatever. But they need a brand that they can build around. And I'm not sure AEW is that brand. Especially when you look at the show that they put on this week. I cannot waste any more time. I have to get into this thing. The show starts with Edge saying that he's not been feeling so great. His mind has been wandering. He's having dark thoughts. Says that tonight he wants the match to be no disqualification with Brody King. Okie dokie. Malachi Black cut a promo. This is actually a very interesting promo because he talked about the transition from boys to men, from boys' dreams to men's reality. That there was a man who feared death, so he cast out the shadows. In exchange for his wife and children, he created a facade to cover who he really is, but he has to be reminded, and all he has to do is kill the facade. Then he says he's going to bring you to the brink of death so that you may live again. Basically, telling the story of Edge. Edge was a fan as a kid. He achieved his dreams when he grew up. But he had a darker side, the Brood Edge. They're going to try to go into that, apparently. And he cast out Brood Edge for his family, for a wife and children, created a facade, and now he wants to destroy that facade, bring him to the brink of death so that he can live again, so that he can once more become Brood Edge. Because it doesn't make sense for you to be Brood Cope, right? There was never a vampire Cope. So, vampire Adam Copeland. I wish they would not do this stuff. I like Malachi Black. I like this angle. But this is another one of those things where it doesn't fit in AEW because there's no attachment there. There's nothing. You're just leaning on the WWE idea at this point. Or we're going to do the same thing that he did against Finn Balor. And I think he did it again I think Seth Rollins was another one when he did the Brood Edge stuff. We're just going to lean into that again. And that can be fun. And for Malachi Black, it would be sensible because it would follow the trend of, like what he did with Finn Balor, of going to the darker places. But I guess I'll have to see it before I really feel it. So the main event of the show, Edge defeats Brody King. Edge speared Brody King between the ropes. He did the old Big E spear through the ropes, and they both went through a table. They were both bleeding. And this match seemingly went on forever before Edge finally won the match. After the contest, Brody King continued to fight and attack Edge. That happened in pretty much every single match on this show, except maybe one. Pretty much every single match on this show, the loser attacked the winner afterwards. Now, that's fine, but every match, every match except one. I think only one match they didn't have somebody attack them after the match. Kyle O'Reilly ended up saving Edge from Brody King, which he said he would do. Backstage, Kyle O'Reilly gets a big thank you from Edge for his help. And then Kyle O'Reilly asks for a TNT Championship match for Collision because Kyle O'Reilly must have championship match. And Edge agrees, but he sounded kind of salty about it because, this guy just basically came out there and helped him just so that he could be in his debts and he can get this championship match. So, okay. I don't like why is Edge like the workhorse of AEW? Like he's the guy working 20-minute matches every Dynamite. Like this guy's like 52 or something like that. Why is he working 20-minute matches every week? I don't know. I can't possibly explain it. But I would rather watch Edge than, I don't know, Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy wrestled Trent Barretta. Oh my God. If this didn't run you off, man, nothing will. I can tell you that. Orange Cassidy won the match. After the match, guess what happened? Did you say Trent Barretta attacked Orange Cassidy? Oh, well, you're a smart guy and you're paying attention. And this was a quite thorough beatdown that in the end meant nothing. Orange Cassidy gets power driven on the stairs, and Trent Beretta lifts up the metal under the ring, lift up the ring apron so that you can see the metal under the ring. And he does the old slingshot of Orange Cassidy's throat into that metal. And then 45 seconds later, Orange Cassidy is standing up, threatening to hit him with a chair. Orange Cassidy. Chris Statlander is out there. She's talking very sternly to Trent Beretta. What are you doing? This is so unlike you. Like, this guy just almost died. And you're like, this is so unlike you. You're supposed to be freaking out because this guy's supposed to be on a stretcher. You know, like, come on. This is why people can't get into AEW. This is a problem. This is an issue. You got to fix this. You got to actually sell. If you're going to do some stuff, you got to sell it. Later, Rocky Romero approaches Orange Cassidy and says if he wins over Jay Whitehall, then they will get a trios championship match. They get to pick their own partner. And one of the partners he actually picked says, hey, maybe we can, put everything under the bridge and we could be partners with Trent Beretta. It's like, is this dude got like shit in his brains? This guy almost killed this man not even 2 hours ago. And he's like, maybe we can all be friends. Like, are you serious? You book brain bum ass bum? What is wrong with you? See, this is why I don't like Rocky Romero. I know at this point, the point of this was to agitate Orange Cassidy a little bit to show that he's pretty frustrated about this Trent Beretta thing. But I would be frustrated too if this guy who I thought was my friend power driven me on the middle stairs. I'll be upset. And this guy comes up here like, oh, wouldn't he be a great partner? Man, you better hit this fucker with a Z-Pack and get the fuck out of here. Rocky Romero sucks, by the by. He's the shits. He's Chavo Guerrero with no Guerrero. He's going to wrestle Jay Whitehall. Pac is backstage. He's looking disheveled. And still looking jacked, though. Still jacked, though disheveled. And he's been asked about Death Triangle because now Phoenix is back. Pac is, I'm not worried about Death Triangle. And then Jay White happened to wander into the scene, said that Death Triangle is dead. Pac is a loser, and maybe he should watch them so that he can learn about winning. Then he promptly went out there and beat Rocky Romero in a match. I went to the bathroom. I didn't even see it. It's amazing how I can time these things. Like, I went to the bathroom and came back, and this match was over, and I was like, I did not have to watch Rocky Romero. Excellent. And he put one finger on Rocky Romero's chest, but it's not the same. This guy sucks. This Rocky Romero thing, not going to work. I don't care who he's the liaison for, whoever needs to liaise himself a new job. Why can't this guy just go work in an office somewhere? Maybe he need a job going to collect seashells or something. Go count woodchucks chucking wood. Go do literally anything else with your life than pro wrestling. You're not good at it. Maybe you're good in Japan. If so, you need to pitch a tent outside of, Ryojuku or whatever. Can stay out there because you suck at this in the United States. Nobody wants to watch Rocky Romero. I still don't understand why he has an eye patch when he can clearly see out of both eyes. It's not even really like a fancy Slick Rick kind of thing because at least Slick Rick has swag. This guy has no charisma, no swag, is dry as toast and not nearly as delicious. At least I don't think so. And he just plain fucking sucks. Rocky Romero. Put him in the cannon, point it at the sun, and pull the fucking trigger. I don't care where he lands at that point. Fuck Rocky Romero. The Young Bucks are backstage. They're in the parking lot with a cameraman who is just named Cameraman. I thought it was Brandon Cutler, but that guy apparently doesn't work there anymore. They steal Tony Khan's parking space because that's real devious. He doesn't need it. So they did a backstage promo with Jack Perry, which apparently happened last week. And Perry is trying to be intimidating. Says that he hopes Kenny Omega enjoyed hitting all his old moves. I'm like, why would you even mention that stuff? You know, maybe say, like Omega, you still got some fight in you, huh? You know, then said that they don't need Kenny Omega anymore. They have the real best bout machine, so they don't need him. Omega is in the hospital. Well, he's in the ER. He's sitting up, and he says that he knows these guys for 15 years, so it's hard for him to not take it personal, but Matthew told him not to take it personally. So he says as an EVP, he has some business to take care of his own. He came up with the Young Bucks being an Anarchy in the Arena match, and it would be the Young Bucks, Okada, and Jack Perry versus the greatest tag team in AEW history, FTR, and two more guys that will reveal themselves later. So this takes us directly to the main event, in which the Young Bucks come to the ring and discuss that they have asked for an overrun, in which Okada says "Get well soon" to Omega, and Matt says that TK is the best boss that he's ever had, and he just wants Tony Khan to know they're not there to hurt AEW; they're there to make it better. There's a sporadic CM Punk chant at these guys, but it didn't catch on. Didn't quite stick. Didn't quite stick. And so as they're doing whatever they're doing in the ring, their opponents show up. One of them is Eddie Kingston. The other is Bryan Danielson. So Okada and FTR and the Young Bucks and Okada and Jack Perry versus FTR, Eddie Kingston, and Bryan Danielson, Anarchy in the Arena. They're calling it Team AEW, which I'm like, is this an invasion angle? Is this a takeover? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I guess technically it's a version of the NWO angle, except for it's a revolution at the top, where now the EVPs are trying to do like a hostile takeover of the company. Okay. I guess Eddie Kingston and Danielson both have heat with Okada. You know, Okada beat Kingston for the belt. He also beat Danielson and broke his arm. Okay, and of course FTR have heat with, the Young Bucks. So I guess it makes sense, even though I kind of feel like it was random and they was all thrown together. I guess if you look at AEW history, it kind of makes sense. I don't really care for these Anarchy and Arena things. I'm just wondering whose song is going to play throughout the entirety of it. Is it going to be the EVP song? Because it sucks. Maybe if it's Danielson's song, it'll rule. Maybe if it's Okada's song, it might be interesting. Somebody's song got to play. I guess it'd be Eddie Kingston's, right? The world is cold, but bundle up. The world is cold, bundle up. The knockoff DMX that he came up with. It's hilarious, by the way. How your theme song is Kroger brand DMX, Spartan brand DMX. Good choice DMX, Timu DMX. Moving on, Serena Deeb comes out there and gets promptly disrespected as she's trying to tell the story, and the crowd starts chanting for the Oilers, which I was told is a hockey team. So she's talking, the crowd is like, oh, the hell with this. Let's go Oilers. I don't care what you're talking about. She's out there talking about having seizures, and they was like, oh, okay, we can at least be respectfully quiet. We're going to respectfully shut our goddamn mouths, but we're not going to, cheer for her or anything like that. So Serena Deeb explains that she had 3 unprovoked seizures and thought her career was over, but she fought to come back because she wants to be the world champion. Toni Storm came out there, threw some money at Serena Deeb, called her a charity case. And then Serena Deeb said, you need to start giving a shit and start taking me seriously. To which Tony Khan says that she doesn't give a shit about Serena Deeb's issues. Serena Deeb decked Toni Storm and laid her flat on the floor. And Mariah May and Luther had to lift her from the floor. It was very comedic. All of this was very comedic, but this was not good. Serena Deeb was trying to express herself, and they were respectful once she got to the really sad part. But the early part of the promo, man, this just goes to show they do not care about her. See, this is a problem. They're booking this match for the pay-per-view. This is not they're going to wrestle the week of the pay-per-view, or they're going to wrestle on the Collision before the pay-per-view, or something like that. This is a match that they first announced. They're one of the first matches they announced, by the way. And they're expecting to sell tickets to this show. And they're expecting to sell people on the idea that Serena Deeb can win. And nobody cares about her. Look, to me, I like Serena Deeb. I thought she was really good. I thought her promo was okay, but this segment sucked. And the crowd shit on it. They don't care. And it just goes to show that even if you like somebody personally, you can say that they're not a marquee talent. Serena Deeb is not there yet. She is not a pay-per-view quality opponent. She is Zoe Stark level, in WWE. She should be wrestling her on Raw or Dynamite or something like that, because nobody believes Serena Deeb can win. Just beat her on Dynamite and build somebody else better for a different pay-per-view or something, because this is not good. This is terrible. Speaking of terrible, Harley Cameron is defeated by Mariah May. Oh, oof. Why was this so long? Look, the girls are hot. Harley Cameron is one hot chick. My goodness. And of course, Mariah May is beautiful. But I don't know if I could sit and watch this. I could, man, it wasn't Clockwork Orange bad, but I was just kind of like, I can't believe they're running this match right now. And it was so long. Oh, they should have got Divas time. This should have been a WWE Speed match. AEW Speed. They should have did this match in 2 minutes if you were going to do it. Saraya was out there. I was like, holy hell, she still exists. She's a thing here. When's the last time she was on this show? And she's in Harley Cameron's corner, and Harley Cameron is a member of the Outcasts. And I was like, Outcasts? I haven't heard about that in 2 years. And I completely and totally forgot that the Outcasts were a thing, because now Ruby Soho is pregnant, and she's gone. And I'm like, whoa, that's interesting. I thought she was gay, but hey, this just goes to show. And in the event, Mariah May wins. She beat Harley Cameron. And then, as usual, Saraya jumped Mariah May after the match. And Mina Shirakawa makes the save. She teases that she's going to kiss Mariah May, and then doesn't do it. Instead, they have a champagne toast. And this teasing, don't do that. Don't blue ball me, girl. Do what you're going to do. But Harley Cameron, look, beautiful woman, absolutely gorgeous, multi-talented, has a good sense of humor. She can sing. I'm not sure if wrestling is for her, or if maybe if she was a Chelsea Green-like character, it might make a little bit more. She might be a little bit more entertaining. But I don't know what her gimmick is with Saraya. I don't know what Saraya's gimmick is. They've been off TV for so long. They've been off TV for like 2 months. And when it comes to Mariah May, for God's sake, is she a babyface or a heel? Does it even matter anymore? Is Mina Shirakawa a babyface or a heel? Does it really matter anymore? I don't think none of this stuff matters anymore. I'm asking questions that, none of these people want to have an answer to. Next, Swerve and Christian. They're in there. I'm going to shorten this up because I don't care. They got another Let's Go Oilers chant as Christian is talking. Swerve didn't say nothing, but he's done the kind of stuff that Christian does, and he understands that you go after the top guy. But he said he wasn't coming alone, so this time he bring the Mogul Embassy. And I know me and one of my followers was asking, what happened to the Mogul Embassy? We thought it was gone. I'm like, well, I didn't see a formal breakup, but it wasn't like AEW is the best in, making sure all these plot threads are taken care of. So when the Mogul Embassy show up, it's the Gates of Agony. It's like Bishop and Khan. I'm like, okay, cool. They're going to stand out there and they're going to help Swerve fight off Christian and his sons, I guess. Then Swerve says that the Mogul Embassy is going to help him beat his ass like Kendrick Lamar did to Drake. And I was like, oh boy, that's the second time they had that mentioned this week on a wrestling show. Please don't mention it on SmackDown. In any event, Christian Cage is called a politicker while Swerve Strickland worked his ass off to get there. And he dared Christian to come in the ring and take his gold teeth, take his dreadlocks, take his belt, take anything he wants. And as Christian approaches the ring, Brian Cage attacks Swerve from behind. So now the Mogul Embassy is indeed over. They beat Swerve's ass. They just kicked the shit out of him completely. Powerbomb him through a table, leave him for dead. I'm like, ooh, brother. They really putting Swerve in a hole here. Now, it's not confirmed that, the Mogul Embassy or the Gates of Agony or whatever are now officially working with Christian. It seems to be some kind of deal between Christian and the Young Bucks where, he's going to take the belt at the Young Bucks' behest. That's what seemed to be the idea here. And as part of that, the Gates of Agony have flipped on Swerve. Okay. I mean, all right. But Brian Cage is no threat. We just saw Brian Cage lose to like a fifth grader. I mean, this guy is always losing. I'm pretty sure he got lost on his way to the arena. I'm sure somebody pinned him by the time he got, coffee that morning. He's just big for no reason, just jacked for nothing. Same thing with Toa Leona, also jacked for nothing. Khan, jacked for no reason at all. Just three big dudes, muscles everywhere, not a brain anywhere to protect themselves, or at least just run the independence instead of doing this forever. I know you're getting paid and it don't matter, but come on, brother. You could be getting paid so much more. For God's sake, get out of this shit. But Swerve getting jumped, it's the second week, maybe the third, where he got left laying. And some people may think that's the problem. I think it's okay. You want to make the threat seem real. So having him continuously get beat up does help with that. Yes, he looks weak, but he's a babyface. Babyfaces only really look weak if they don't get no get back. If they don't show any fire and they don't get no get back. In this situation, it was 3-on-1, three big jack dudes. They took, Swerve, who was a tall but smaller guy, out. And it was believable. So it was fine. He needs to have some get back though. Like next week, he needs to run through these guys. I'm talking hit him with chairs, hit him with pipes, run him over with his car, all kind of shit. Or he probably will look weak. But this, of course, is a bigger angle. Now he's going to be working with the Young Bucks and everything. Next, Willow Nightingale cuts a pretty good promo saying that she's ready for any challenge, and that asked if Mercedes was ready. She says she had the run of her life since that injury that Mercedes suffered. She beat Mercedes and she won the Strong Championship. She won the Owen Cup, which I completely forgot about because it's not relevant to anything that goes on this show. And now she's the TBS champion, and that Mercedes may get more red carpet opportunities, more TV shows, but in pro wrestling, she's going to beat Mercedes Monet because she's better than her. And I said, okay, look at Willow. She can actually promo, for God's sake. She's doing a good job. Mercedes, on the other hand, poo-putt. Just, ugh. She talking about how she thrives. This is Mercedes talking. Saying that she thrives in the spotlight and under pressure, that she's been doing promotion. She's going to throw the pitch at a Boston baseball game. And then she's going to go back to the ring to prepare, and said that Willow took something away from her, took away time, something she can never get back. And the only thing she was thinking while she was laying there injured was, why me? Why? Now she says that Willow is not on her level. Willow might be on a run, but that run is because of her, and she's going to wipe the smile off of her face. This was, of course, not good. Just notoriously not good. I don't know, man. I don't think this girl cares. I don't think this girl cares at all about this stuff. She's just... It's so bad when it comes to Mercedes now that I'm not sure that it's not being done on purpose. I'm thinking... At first I thought she was maybe just nervous. Going out there and talking in AEW, it's a little bit different. You don't have the safety net of WWE to a degree with the writers, and you can always fall back on, hey, this is what I know what I'm supposed to say. But she went and got her own personal writer, just Jennifer Pepperman. And now she's trying to do both. She's trying to be both the character and regular old Mercedes. And it's like, I don't know. But Here it is. She's been there for, what, a month? Maybe 2 months? And she's already nothing on this show. She's no longer being promoted. She didn't show up until 9:50. So she went from being the opening angle to being at the top of the hour of the second hour angle to being stuffed somewhere in between to now she's not on the show, or she's on the show but she's later in the show and she's not being promoted at all. So there it is. That's why AEW is having a problem growing. Not just because the wrestlers can't meet the expectations, which is only part of the problem. The bigger issue is that they are not consistent. You know, if Mercedes and Willow are an important angle, you have to keep it, in a position where people will want to see it. These very short promos that are stuffed somewhere on the show that are not promoted. It's not like, we're going to hear from Willow Nightingale, or we're going to hear from Mercedes Monet later today. I'm talking about women's wrestling. Nobody cares about this stuff, but I'm just giving you an idea of why this stuff is struggling to move forward. Because she wasn't on the show last week, and people might assume she's not going to be on the show this week if it's, 9 o'clock or 8:30 and she hasn't been out there yet. How does she go from being a superstar, game changer, face of AEW to now being barely on the show? And that part of this issue is they brought her back for Boston, and the storyline that they've been putting her in is not good. So it's part of the booking, it's part of the talent. I mean, her performances have not been great, but neither has the promotion, neither has the opponents that she was being picked to go against. And this whole thing is what it is, man. It's just one big old flop. Speaking of big old flops, Jericho is out there with Big Bill. They defeat a couple of Jabberellos. Jericho mistakenly calls Edmonton Calgary, gets the heat, then apologizes. Says that he's been making memories for other people. Says that Big Bill's in the Jericho vortex, learning new ways to win. He gave Shibata credit for pushing him last week and having a great match on Cage Match, even though it's clear that I think it's one of the worst rated matches on Cage Match history. I think it was truly a phenomenally bad contest, and not in a fun way either. Like, sometimes things can be bad, but they're fun. That was not fun. Tony Schiavone then reminded Jericho that Hook is going to be returning next week. And Jericho pretended like he was happy about that and said, yeah, that's great. I love Hook. We all love Hook. Hook is great. And he left. At one point, brother, there used to be a lot of young guys on AEW, and those young guys, they didn't have a lot of personality, but they were at least different, Now Dynamite is like Jericho and Edge and a lot of the Young Bucks, and you're like, oof. I mean, expired meat and mayonnaise. That's gross. I hate mayonnaise. I hate lard. I don't like mayonnaise. Not a big fan. Not a big fan of mustard either, by the way. Mustard stinks, too. It sucks. It makes me ill. Stomach just got the churning. Ugh. Maybe it's just a cheap mustard, but I don't like mustard. I don't like ketchup either, by the by. In any event, that's the sandwiches that AEW's making. I had to make I'm hungry as hell. I'm hungry as hell and bored. This show sucks. It's no good. Where is the excitement? The crowd sit on their hands through most of the show. The loudest chant was a Let's Go Oilers chant over a Serena Deeb promo. Yes, the crowd eventually got into Edge versus Brody King, but they had to beat the shit out of each other in order to get the crowd there. They had to hit each other in the head with stuff and bleed and fall through tables and everything, which of course doesn't help for the emotional attachment to the characters and the storyline. It's just, let's just do some action because, things have to happen for God's sake, or the people are going to go to sleep or they're going to leave. But I didn't see a lot of shit for Rampage. So at the very least, they're learning in that regard to not really promote Rampage too much. But let me know what you guys think. Talk about this show. Talk at me. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.